They say trust is the foundation of every relationship. But what happens when that trust is shattered by the very people closest to you? Meet James, a highly respected lawyer with a picture-perfect life, a thriving career, a beautiful home, and a loving wife, Sarah, who has stood by his side through everything. Sarah isn't just a wife. She's his biggest supporter, the one who helped him build his success from the ground up. Then there's Emily, Sarah's trusted assistant. Loyal, efficient, and always by her side. Sarah treated her like family. But behind closed doors, a betrayal was brewing, one that would change everything. When Sarah discovered the truth, she didn't scream, she didn't cry. She did something no one expected, and her next move left everyone speechless. This is not just another story of infidelity. What Sarah did next will shock you, and it's something most people would never even consider. Stay with us until the end to find out how she turned the ultimate betrayal into the perfect revenge. Before we talk about the shocking moments Sarah discovered the truth, let's go back to where it all began. James had always been a man of ambition. Long hours at the firm, late-night case reviews, and business trips were all part of his routine. Sarah was used to it. She never questioned his dedication to work. But what she didn't realize was that something, or rather someone, was slowly becoming a bigger part of James's world. Emily had been working as Sarah's assistant for nearly 2 years. She was young, intelligent, and highly efficient. Sarah trusted her with everything, scheduling meetings, organizing events, even managing personal errands. What Sarah didn't know was that Emily was also becoming an emotional anchor for James. It started subtly. A few casual conversations about work turned into longer discussions about life. James found himself opening up to Emily in ways he hadn't with Sarah in years. Maybe it was the stress of his career. Maybe it was the thrill of something new. Either way, the lines between professional and personal began to blur. Late nights at the office became more frequent. Emily was always there, ready to assist with last-minute filings or complicated legal documents. At first, it seemed innocent. After all, she was just doing her job. But then, James started finding reasons to keep her around longer. A quick dinner after work. A coffee break that turned into a deep conversation. And soon, a lingering glance that lasted a little too long. The first real shift happened at a charity gala. Sarah had planned every detail of the event, but James barely noticed. Instead, his eyes kept drifting to Emily. Dressed in an elegant black dress, she stood by his side the entire evening, laughing at his jokes, whispering in his ear. It wasn't just the way she looked, it was the way she made him feel. Important. Desired. Then came the business trip. A 3-day conference in another city, and Emily was asked to accompany him. Sarah didn't think twice about it. Emily was part of their inner circle. Why would she? But the distance from home, the late-night hotel meetings, the blurred lines, it all led to one inevitable moment. The first time James and Emily crossed that line, there was guilt. But guilt is a funny thing. It fades when desire takes over. What started as a mistake became a routine. Secret messages, discreet meetings, a carefully constructed web of deception. James thought he was being careful. He used a separate phone, deleted messages, made sure they were never seen together outside of work. But no matter how cautious, no secret stays hidden forever. Sarah began to notice the small things. The change in James's cologne. The way he suddenly became more conscious of his appearance. The unexplained late nights that didn't quite add up. And then there was Emily. Always available, always present, always too close. The moment of truth came unexpectedly. A simple mistake. One careless text left open on James's laptop. Sarah wasn't looking for it, but there it was. Words that couldn't be misinterpreted. Words that made her stomach drop. And just like that, the illusion shattered. Before we talk about Sarah's reaction, let's go back to the moment she first felt that something was off. Sarah had always been the kind of wife who trusted her husband without question. For years, she believed in the strength of their marriage, never doubting James's loyalty. But recently, something had changed. It wasn't just his late nights at work, That was nothing new. It was the little things. The way he started avoiding eye contact. The way he suddenly became protective of his phone. The way he smelled like a different cologne, one she didn't buy for him. At first, she ignored it. She told herself she was imagining things. James was busy, stressed, dealing with work pressure. But then there were the unexplained absences. He started working weekends more often, attending urgent client meetings that seemed to happen at odd hours. And then there was Emily, her assistant, her right hand, the woman she had trusted with everything. One evening, Sarah sat in their living room, staring at the clock. James had told her he would be home by 9. It was now almost midnight. No call, no text. She picked up her phone and dialed his number. Straight to voicemail. Her heart started to race, but she forced herself to stay calm. She decided to check his office location on the family GPS app. When she did, her stomach dropped. He wasn't at the office. He was across town, at a 5-star hotel. Still, she didn't want to believe it. Maybe it was a business meeting. Maybe he was meeting the client. Maybe she was wrong. But deep down, she knew. The next morning, Sarah woke up before James. She watched him sleep, studying his face. He looked peaceful, unaware that his secret was about to come crashing down. As he got ready for work, she noticed something, his phone, left unattended on the bathroom counter. Sarah never went through his phone before. She never felt the need to. But this time, her hands moved on their own. She unlocked it. What she saw made her breath catch in her throat. Messages. Hundreds of them. Late-night conversations with Emily. Pictures. Plans. Words that shattered everything she thought she knew. Her fingers trembled as she scrolled. Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you. I wish I could wake up next to you instead. Her vision blurred. Her chest tightened. The room felt smaller, like the walls were closing in. How could he? How could they? Emily wasn't just a stranger. She was someone Sarah had trusted, someone she had welcomed into her life. Her first instinct was to confront him right away, to scream, to throw his phone at him, to demand answers. But she didn't. She couldn't. Instead, she placed the phone back where it was and walked out of the room. Sarah felt like a ghost moving through her own house. The kitchen, the living room, their wedding photos on the wall, it all felt different now, like a life that wasn't hers anymore. She sat down at the dining table, gripping the edge so hard her knuckles turned white. A million thoughts ran through her head. Should she leave? Should she fight for her marriage? Should she expose them both? She heard James's footsteps approaching. He kissed her on the forehead like he did every morning. "I'll be home late tonight," he said casually. "Work is crazy." Sarah nodded, forcing a smile. But inside, something inside her had already shifted. She knew the truth. And now, she had to decide what to do with it. Before we talk about what happened to James and Emily, let's focus on Sarah. Because in the days after her discovery, something changed in her. The betrayal had broken her, but it had also given her clarity. She knew she couldn't let this go. Not this time. Sarah wasn't the type to explode in anger or beg for an explanation. She was calm, calculated, and she had a plan. The first thing she did was gather evidence. She took screenshots of the messages, printed hotel receipts she found in James's emails, and even checked financial statements for anything suspicious. It wasn't just about knowing the truth. It was about making sure there was no way James could deny it when the time came. Then, she reached out to a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, one of James's biggest rivals in the legal field. Sarah wasn't just planning a confrontation. She was planning a strategy. When the moment finally arrived, it was nothing like James expected. He came home late, just like he always did, probably expecting Sarah to be asleep. But she was waiting for him, at the dining table, with a folder full of every lie he had ever told her. James froze when he saw it. For the first time, he realized he had lost control of the situation. He stammered, tried to explain, but Sarah didn't need explanations. She needed him to listen. "You didn't just betray me," she said, her voice steady. "You underestimated me." She slid the divorce papers across the table. James's face went pale. He knew his career, his reputation, his carefully curated life. Everything was about to crumble. But Sarah wasn't finished. The next morning, Emily walked into work like nothing had happened. But the moment she sat at her desk, security approached her. She was being escorted out. Effective immediately, she was fired. No explanation needed. Sarah had made sure of it. Not just because of the affair, but because she had built this business alongside James. She had a say in who stayed and who left. And Emily was gone. James tried to fight back, tried to negotiate, but Sarah had already moved the pieces on the board. The divorce was filed, the assets were being divided, and she had made sure she wasn't the one walking away empty-handed. The aftermath was brutal. James lost not just his marriage, but his credibility. The legal world was small, and word spread quickly. His firm suffered. Clients pulled away. No one wanted to be associated with a man who couldn't even keep his own house in order. As for Emily, she disappeared from the industry. With her name tarnished and no recommendations, finding another high-profile job became impossible. The very man she risked everything for couldn't even save her. And Sarah? She walked away with her dignity intact. She wasn't just a woman scorned. She was a woman who had taken control of her own story. This story is a powerful reminder that betrayal doesn't just break hearts, it changes lives. James thought he could have it all, but in the end, he lost everything. Emily believed she was winning, but she was just a temporary distraction. And Sarah? She proved that strength isn't about revenge. It's about knowing your worth and walking away with your head held high. What would you have done in Sarah's place? Have you ever witnessed or experienced a betrayal like this? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more unbelievable real-life stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.